Welcome to Blind Level Tech. This isn't just accessible tech talk. This is technology on a whole new level. We're showing you just how possible it is to live the life you want.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to another episode of Blind Level Tech, and I am your host, Evan Starnes. And this is your end of the month tech news and updates episode, and we will be continuing to do these episodes at the end of every month, just because the last one did perform quite well. I was very pleasantly surprised, and it is nice, especially, if we've had a month of guests, to have a little bit of a break, talk about, some of the latest in happenings in mainstream and assistive technology. And also, it's a time for me to share any personal experiences that I've had. And I've got actually a few to talk about today in this episode. But first, because it is a little bit less than 2 weeks away, I have to mention, of course, Colorado Gives Day, as we really do want to hit and or hopefully exceed our $15,000 goal. And right now, we're about a fifth or maybe about a sixth of the way there. So we're getting there. But in any rate, if you're able to donate, you can do that by visiting coloradogives.org. And then if you are using a screen reader, navigate by button to the search button and then hit enter. And then if you just search for Aftersight, you'll find us. Or if you just want to go to our Colorado Gives page directly, you can go to the website coloradogives.org/organization/Aftersight. I believe I got that wrong in my last announcement and link because I put organizations, but it's the singular, not the plural. So with that being said, we would appreciate if you can donate. If not, definitely continue to listen to our podcasts and programming and share it with your friends and anybody that you feel will qualify for our services. It helps us continue to grow and continue our mission. But also, if you're able to donate, we have matching donations. So if you donate $25, we'll match that with $25. So effectively, you'll have donated $50. Additionally, if for any new recurring monthly donors, they are providing up to $100 in matching donations. So let's say you set up a $10 recurring monthly donation, you'll effectively be donating $20 each month. So just wanted to get that information out there. Check out the Colorado Gives website. It's very accessible. And I like the fact, too, that if you go to our page or any other page, you're now able to see, and you've been able for a couple of years to see the progress towards our goal, and you can see some info or leave testimonials. So go check that out. I will link to it in the show notes, of course. And with that being said, let's move on to personal updates. The first and most recent thing that has happened over the weekend is I visited a T-Mobile store with my girlfriend, and our main intent, of course, was to get her on T-Mobile, but also I upgraded my T-Mobile internet because I've been using their 5G in-home internet for about 3 years now, and I've had pretty good luck with it. When I got it first, it was a little unreliable. There would be days where it would go down or it would act very weird. Like for some reason, I would be watching a video and then it would just disconnect or not. It would literally stop loading any sort of data after about 5 minutes. But a lot of those weird little kinks and stuff have definitely been fixed. And especially moving to the area that I am now, we have very good T-Mobile coverage. So I upgraded to their best in-home internet, and it has, I believe the speeds are nearly, if not gig speed, because this is over T-Mobile Internet Fiber, which they just recently launched. And the other cool thing about this new setup is it also comes with one of those little range extenders. So I can finally replace the old crummy Netgear. And it's nice because I have a desktop computer that does not have Wi-Fi in it, and the range extender has 2 Ethernet ports. So I'm able to plug my computer into that access point, and it is super nice. If you just have some older devices that don't have Wi-Fi capabilities, it's super nice to be able to have that. So if you're in an area that has good coverage, good T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T coverage, and you are looking to upgrade your home internet setup, this is an option worth considering because literally all it is a router, and it looks like a standard router. It's a nice, the old one that I had was a round cylinder. It looked really cool actually. And this new one's more of a vertical square box, and all you've got to do is plug it in, and it works effectively like a giant cell phone or a giant hotspot. And it connects to the cellular network as long as you have it in a good area near a window. And you won't need to mess with cable providers or cables, and it's part of your phone bill. So I love that. And these services, these in-home internet services, are offered by T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T, but I believe it's through DirecTV because they own DirecTV. So, like I said, if you're looking at upgrading your home internet and you've already got a cell phone carrier, I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, do, and you have good coverage in your area, then you might be able to switch over to 5G home internet. And it's just getting better and better and faster over time, too. I also got to check out the iPhone 17 lineup, including the 17 Pro, Pro Max, and Air. And I can confirm that they are, at least the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max, are for the most part metal on the back. They've gone back to the anodized aluminum as opposed to the original titanium, which I really liked. But yeah, mostly metal on the back, and it kind of feels similar to that frosted glass texture, but there's this little window right below the camera plateau. It's about the size of a business card, and it is glass, it's frosted glass, and that's what's used to handle things like MagSafe charging or wireless charging. So it's interesting that they had to put that in, but it makes sense considering that if you have a metal phone, you can't really wireless charge because of the fact that the metal would very much interfere with any sort of wireless charger. So that's why they did that. And the camera plateau is interesting. In fact, when I heard the description, I didn't really know what to expect as far as looks. But to keep it very simple, starting from the iPhone 11 all the way through the 16, all of the cameras were housed in this little square that kind of, jets out from the back of the phone. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. However, now you have your array of cameras and flash, but that whole little bump basically spans across the entire, from left to right on the back of the phone. It's like a little rectangle. It almost reminds me of the older visor camera kind of setup that was on some of the older Google Pixel phones. And it does mean that your iPhone, if it doesn't have a case on it, will never be able to sit completely flush on a table. I don't really know if they will be able to, at all in the next couple of years, unless they find some way to make them completely flush with the back of the phone. And the iPhone 17 Air is all glass, and it's a little bit thicker than an iPhone SE or a 6 or a 7, but not by much. The little mono speaker in the earpiece is fine. It's okay. I've gotten to do some limited testing, mostly just using it with VoiceOver. And I can understand why they had to cut that corner, but it is still a shame considering that the phone is $999. For some out there that might want a super thin, super light phone, this might be a good option. Last but not least, personal update-wise, I am trying to keep this short, but it is difficult. But last but not least, I finally got to go in person to Target and check out the accessible self-checkout. And it was actually at the Target I went to, and I'm pretty sure it's at most of, if not all of the Targets in Colorado. But when I walked up to the self-checkout machine, they basically, to describe the layout, your typical self-checkout machine, you've got your large square touchscreen. Below that, you have your scanner and the little kind of scale that you put your items on. And then to the right of that, you have your credit card terminal. But on the Target ones now, additionally, to the left of the screen, you've got this little rectangular accessibility controller. It's a little bigger than a deck of cards. And on the front of it, you have a jack for headphones that says audio, hence the need, of course, like I said a few episodes ago, to have what I call kiosk earbuds. You have 2 up and down arrow-shaped buttons with the label volume, self-explanatory. Then you have up, down, left, right, and OK in the middle. And then you have two smaller buttons that are your info and your back buttons. When I plugged in headphones to the self-checkout, however, it did something that definitely surprised me, and I'm sure will throw off quite a few people that use this thing for the first time. Upon plugging in headphones, I was presented with a dialog on the screen of the self-checkout saying essentially that screen reader functionality, while the device was installed, had not been implemented yet into the self-checkout and would be coming soon. And I was a little disappointed, but then I hit the down arrow and I heard got it. So, of course, that's a got it button. So I clicked it and actually the machine worked as I expected it to. When I scanned an item, it would read not only the item, but the weight and or the price and or if it had a deal. It was also possible using the info button. If I needed to go search for something like bananas, it was pretty easy to do that. The speech is very clear for us text-to-speech lovers and geeks out there. They're using SFox Pico. It's a older text-to-speech engine. If you've set up Amazon Fire tablets before or used older Android phones, you'll definitely have heard it. But it's quite clear and pretty easy to understand. And what I liked about this as well is, this is coming from using those ATMs and stuff with the headphone jack, is that it didn't give this whole giant explanation of everything on the keypad and how to adjust the speed and volume. And you didn't have to stand through this entire 1 minute tutorial, which every other device, at least really the ones that I've tried, mostly being ATMs, seems to love to do. I wish there was a skip option. I can understand why it would be helpful, but I do appreciate that in the Target self-checkout, it didn't do that. And when it came time to swipe my card, it did read the information off of the credit card reader through that accessibility controller. So I can say that the experience was pretty accessible. It took some getting used to at first, but I think at this point, now you are able to walk into a Target. If you have Aira, you have free Aira access there. And if you have Meta glasses, then you can use Aira through WhatsApp and have Aira through your Meta glasses. And you effectively can shop around using Aira and then complete your purchases using the Target self-checkout. And it might not be as quick as a shopper's assistant, but it might also save you time waiting for a shopper's assistant. And, it's on your own time as well. So it's something that I definitely will have to try. I did go with family this time, but maybe that's what I'll do in a future episode is try completely independent shopping. Yes, I know it's an Aira agent that I would be relying on, but at least in my mind, having that access is quite huge. And I would love to see more retailers, including Walmart and definitely Costco. That's going to be dangerous. Actually, what'll really be dangerous for me is when Best Buy adopts this technology. I definitely regret that I didn't have a recorder, as weird as it would have looked with, me standing there with a pair of earbuds and a recorder while I was also scanning stuff. But I might try to do that in the future. In case you've been curious about what it sounds like, but you just haven't been able to hear it for yourself just yet. So we'll see if I'm able to do that, then I will definitely, you'll know, it'll be a BLT bite, but I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to be able to get around to that. Now let's go ahead and jump into tech news. The first thing is, remember the episode a couple of weeks ago that we did with Patrick Long from InnoSearch? They've also done an episode on Eyes on Success as well. So if you want to go check out their episode on InnoSearch with Patrick Long, you can go to any podcasting platform and search for Eyes on Success. You can hear it on their website at eyesonsuccess.net and on Aftersight at aftersight.org/podcasts/eyes-on-success. So quite a few ways to listen if you haven't checked them out yet. It is a fantastic podcast. They've been going for 15 years and They are the reason that BLT is here, because it was the first blind and low vision related podcast that I had ever heard. And it really kind of motivated me to kind of want to do it myself. So definitely go check them out. We did do an episode, if you missed it, a few months ago with the hosts, Peter and Nancy Torpy, as well. So go check that episode out if you missed it. And of course, they also have a website that you can use InnoSearch's co-browse functionality with. So if you want to try that for yourself, go to the eyesonsuccess.net website and then enable co-browse, and then you can just browse around the website with your voice. A couple of weeks ago, Apple added the functionality to be able to use information from your passport and use it effectively as a digital ID. For a couple of years, you have had the ability to add your digital ID to Apple Wallet in certain states, including Colorado. It does not replace and will not replace a real passport. So if you are traveling, I still would encourage that you have your passport on you, but it is convenient to be able to double click the side button on your phone or watch, and then just to be able to bring that information up immediately without having to root around in your bag. And you cannot use this because it is not a passport. You cannot use this to travel over the border or effectively just travel abroad. If you're a Vispero user, that is, you are a user of products such as JAWS and or Fusion, starting next year, they will be rolling out Vispero user accounts. And basically all this means is that you'll need to, in order to continue getting product updates for JAWS and or Fusion or whatever other tools that they come out with, you will need to create a Vispero account using your email and password. If you have the Blind Shell Classic 3, you can use your Meta glasses with the Blind Shell Classic 3. You don't need to have an iPhone or an Android device to be able to use that, which is amazing because there's plenty of people that do have the Blind Shell, and it is a great phone, especially if you've just lost your sight or you're just looking for something simple. And the fact that it integrates with the Meta glasses is wonderful to hear. And I'm hoping to see more integrations with things like maybe the Echo Vision glasses when they're released. Last week, the National Library Service released Bard Mobile version 2.5.6 with a number of changes and refinements, including the upgrade to the new Bard 2.0 system. And this effectively means a simplified login experience, better voice view support. So if you're using Bard Mobile on an Amazon Fire tablet or one of the new Echo Shows, support for iOS 18. And strangely, they did not mention iOS 26, but they did say iOS 18 and the other two previous supported versions. So that would be iOS 17 and 16. I'm not sure why they left iOS 26 out of the mix, but I have not had any trouble using Bard Mobile on iOS 26. Nor did I with iOS 18, but it is nice to see that they are fully supporting those softwares. They also fixed an issue with Bluetooth headphones, and I have been impacted by this issue in the past where if you'd paused your Bluetooth headphones and you wanted to resume playback from the Bluetooth headphones, you couldn't really do that. So you had to pull your phone out and two-finger double tap or find the play button in the Bard mobile app. But that issue has been resolved now. They've also improved voiceover support when you're scrolling, and this is definitely important if you have a lot of books downloaded or if you're doing a search for a book and you have a lot of results to navigate through. Sometimes voiceover would get a little bit choppy or freeze up, so they have fixed that issue. Alrighty, so that's going to be a wrap for your tech news and updates on Blind Level Tech. I hope you like this format of episodes. We will continue to do these on the last Wednesday of every month. If you have any suggestions or things that you'd like me to talk about in these episodes, always feel free to send them to our feedback line, feedback@aftersight.org, or call and leave a voicemail at 720-712-8856. I hope you found the information in this episode useful. Don't forget to check out coloradogives.org between now and December 9th, which is Colorado Gives Day. And if you haven't, check out our other original podcasts on Aftersight, including Navigating Life with Vision Loss, Blindsight, the Mental Health Podcast, Code Orange for Emergency Preparedness, And of course, the all-original The Blind Chick, which of course started as Aftersight and is the reason that we are now called Aftersight. So check those out. And of course, we do have plenty of newspapers and magazines read by our very dedicated volunteers. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this episode of Blind Level Tech. If you celebrate, I hope that you have a very happy and enjoyable Thanksgiving. Eat lots of yummy, delicious food, and drink lots of eggnog for me. If you like eggnog, that's okay if you don't. I will definitely be drinking lots of eggnog and probably consuming a little bit too much cranberry jelly because it's one of my favorites. So have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. And thank you so much for listening to Blind Level Tech. I've been your host, Evan Starnes, and I will talk to you guys again next Wednesday.